An American journalist is caught up in the deadly assault on democracy in Myanmar, the Southeast Asian country once known as Burma. A military coup that began 4 months ago has left hundreds dead and thousands imprisoned, including leaders of the country's elected government. The regime is also detaining journalists, including Danny Fenster. He is 37, a Michigan native who's been working in Myanmar for years. He was taken into custody last week at the Yangon International Airport while waiting for a flight to leave the country. Fenster's mother, Rose, and his brother, Bryan, are calling for his release, and they join us now to discuss. Good morning to you, Rose and Bryan. I can't imagine how worried you all must be, so I thank you so much for taking the time. You know, a lot of people listening to you today, this will be the first time that they're hearing about what has happened to Danny. So let's give the backstory. Rose, how did you first hear that he had been detained?
I think it's 9 days ago, a week ago Monday morning, 7 a.m., my son here, Bryan, called us, and he had received some messages early morning from Danny's wife in Myanmar, that he had been detained and couldn't get a hold of her, but did get a hold of one of Danny's co-workers who filled him in that he was being detained and taken to insane prison. So that's how it all started.
And now here we are. Bryan, exactly what were you told? First, tell us, who was he working for? How long had he been there? What exactly was he doing?
In August of 2020, he started working at Frontier, Myanmar. He was a managing editor there. So he was at his desk editing stories, making sure the Burmese translations to English were correct.
So he's not someone who is out on the streets normally?
No. He was at his desk. He was never at any protests or on the streets reporting.
So why do you think that they decided to take him into custody?
It's all speculative right now. We're in day 10, and we don't have any confirmation of anything. It can only be assumed because he's a journalist in a country where they want to, shut them up essentially. That he was detained.
Because, Rose, I heard that he was actually at the airport. He had gotten through security. He was about to board the plane. Why was he deciding? Do you know why he was deciding to come back to the States at that particular time?
Yeah, yes. To my knowledge, he was supposed to come home in July for a visit. We haven't seen him in over 3 years. To surprise his parents, us, my son, his niece and nephew, his 95-year-old grandmother, who's a Holocaust survivor. And he and my son Bryan were talking, and this was a surprise to come in early like this, to surprise us. So, yes, heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking, Rose, it is. You hadn't seen him in 3 years. It's different when you haven't seen him in 3 years and you know he's safe, as opposed to now he was coming home to surprise the family. And it appears he may be in danger, although we don't know that for sure. What are you hearing, Bryan, from the Biden administration?
We haven't spoken directly with them, but we have been in regular contact with the State Department and the embassy in Myanmar. Everyone's been extremely responsive to all of our requests. There's a lack of information right now. They put in a request 10 days ago for consular access for Danny, which they should be granted, and they haven't even had a reply to the request yet.
Now, I heard something that struck me as strange, that the State Department can't really give you information until they get permission from Danny to give you information about his status. Is that true?
That's correct, and that's to protect Danny's privacy, which we understand. And unfortunately, in Myanmar, there's a regime that's in power, and from our sense, there's not much protocol, and information and processes move very slowly.
So what can people do to help you at this point, Rose and Bryan? What do you want people to do?
Keep this story alive, that Danny needs to be free and sent home. There's a petition that's out. It's
Yeah. I mean, journalism is part of a thriving society, and we're trying to speak out Danny's name on behalf of that cause as well. We need this story to stay fresh in the news cycle. We don't want him to be forgotten naturally. Unfortunately, that's what happens. So we are asking people to share on their socials. We have a hashtag Bring Danny Home.
Web page, a website.
We also have a bringdannyhome.com website, where it's kind of like a hub for everything related to this, and they can also link out to a MoveOn.org petition we have. Again, all to raise awareness and urge the administration to make this move a little quicker.
It's important that you speak up so he is not forgotten. Rose, how are you getting through this?
It's minute by minute with such support, from my family and friends, community, Danny's wife from Myanmar, just beyond the world. This supported by being able to speak and get it out on TV, on national, and on just everybody's. We feel like we're lit up and hugged by the world right now.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Locally here, obviously our family, the nation is rallying around us, and this is going on around the world. So we're so grateful for this platform, really.
We're grateful.
Just trying to. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. We're grateful that you all took the time. I heard, Bryan, you said about your brother, he was someone that liked to shine the light on people that needed to have their stories told, that he is an amazing journalist. We thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you so much, Gayle.
Thank you.
Bye.